Hey everybody, this is Justin, aka Demonic Sweaters. What you're looking at here is my latest e-drum conversion project. This is a PDP Encore drum kit in all black with the black hardware. And actually, if you get really close to this thing, it's more of like a black sparkle if you really get in there and look at it. But anyway, this kit actually has a bit of a history to it already, even though I just bought it. So originally, my plan was to use this drum kit acoustically, because I kind of wanted something a little more modern. Right now, my acoustic set is a 1960s or early 70s Slingerland, which is a great kit, but it's got a 20-inch bass drum, and it's only 4 pieces. And I kind of wanted something with more pieces, with a bigger bass drum, but I didn't want to spend a ton of money. I saw these on Guitar Center's website, and they were having a sale for $50 off, so I thought it looked really cool. I loved the black on black. It just looked really slick, I thought. So I was like, $450. That's a pretty good deal. I'll go ahead and pick it up. I never had a PDP before, but I figured, how bad can it be? So anyway, that started the whole thing here that I'm about to tell you. This was actually a pretty big freaking nightmare. It was one of the worst buying experiences I've ever had of anything. So if you're interested in hearing this story, stay tuned. But if not, you can just skip ahead using the timestamps down below to get to the stuff about the drums themselves and the conversion and all of that. But anyway, I ordered this drum set, and the normal time went by that I was expecting it to be delivered, which was about 4 or 5 days or something like that, or about a week. And FedEx had notified me that it was going to be out for delivery the following day, which was a Wednesday. And so I stayed home that whole day. I didn't really I did leave for a little bit, but nobody came while I was gone. But anyway, I was here most of the day that day, and then just suddenly at about 7 p.m., FedEx said, attempted delivery, nobody at residence, which was total bullshit. I was here, and they just lied and said I wasn't. So anyway, I was like, well, they'll probably just deliver it the next day. So anyway, Thursday, I'm waiting around, and I'm just sort of anticipating the drums, really excited about them and stuff. And then suddenly I get a notification saying delivered. And I run downstairs as quick as I can, and I don't see anything anywhere. There's no boxes, there's no FedEx man or person anywhere in the vicinity. There's no FedEx trucks. I ran around the entire block because I live in a kind of a giant building in New York City. And usually when FedEx comes, they're here for a while because there's a lot of apartments in this building. But there was just no FedEx to be seen anywhere. So I was like, they just, they delivered it to the wrong address or something is what I was thinking. So I called FedEx immediately, and they told me that they were trying to track it down, and yes, it must have been delivered to the wrong address. They were going to contact the driver and see if he could bring it over that night. And I was like, great, that would be awesome. And so about 2 hours went by, and I didn't hear anything, and I was like, well, I guess they're going to bring it the following day. So the next day, I'm waiting around all day, nothing, don't hear anything. And so I go on FedEx's website, and since the previous tracking number had said delivered, it now spawned like a duplicate of the same exact tracking number that said out for delivery, Long Island City. Now, if you're not familiar with New York City, Long Island City is a neighborhood in Queens. I live in Brooklyn. So immediately I was like, there's something not right here. Why would this thing be out for delivery in the wrong borough? That doesn't even make sense. So I call FedEx again, and I tell them that something's not right, that this package is, lost or something. And at this point, I think it was Friday night, and they were like, well, we know where it is. We're going to have it delivered on the following business day. And I was like, okay. So Monday, I'm waiting around here again all day Monday, all the way till the end of the day around 7 p.m. I get a notification on my phone that says package delivered. Once again, I run downstairs, circle the entire building, look in all of the apartment entrances. There is no box anywhere to be found. And at this point, I am absolutely furious because I had spoken to FedEx several times, and they promised me that it was going to be here that day, and it wasn't. Yet it said that it was. And once again, I called FedEx again and let them know that the package had not been delivered, and they were confused. They didn't know what was going on. And then once again, a duplicate tracking number spawned on the FedEx website. And then once again, it said out for delivery, Long Island City. This cycle repeated for about another 5 or 6 days, where it would say out for delivery and then just never come, and then say delivered, and then get a duplicate tracking number spawned, and then say out for delivery, Long Island City. At this point, I was just absolutely furious. And so I called Guitar Center. And one thing that was actually really nice, I will give Guitar Center some credit here because, well, I'll give them a little credit. I'll give them credit because they did provide me with a free kick drum case, because I pretty much have cases that will fit everything else on the drums except for the kick drum. So they sent me a nice Humes & Berg, I think that's the brand, kick drum case, 22 by 16 that fits that perfectly. And that actually came before I got the drums. So the kick drum case came, I still didn't have the drums. And another thing that really bothered me is I noticed when I looked at Guitar Center's website that literally like the day after I purchased this thing for $450, they went on sale again for $369. And so I was really kind of pissed off about that. And so I let the Guitar Center people know, and they actually refunded me that amount to make up for the sale. So I ended up getting the drum set for the sale price of $369. At this point though, I still didn't have drums. I was getting all kinds of deals from Guitar Center, but I didn't have any drums. So the following week went by, as I said, just with that cycle of notifications and saying delivered when it wasn't delivered, happened over and over again for an entire week. The following week after that, Monday morning, I was just thinking, I was sitting here thinking, and I was like, I have had it. I'm not going to do this anymore. This is ridiculous. It said out for delivery, Long Island City once again. So I just filed a claim with my credit card, a dispute. And then I let Guitar Center know. I was like, look, guys, I just filed a dispute. If you guys send me another drum kit, I'll drop the dispute. But unless this thing shows up or you send me another kit, I just want my money back. And so at that point, the guy called me back, or the guy at Guitar Center let me know that, you know, they would just wait and see after the FedEx investigation ended. See, this is the thing that really bugged me about Guitar Center. A lot of places like Amazon and stuff like that, when a package really appears to be lost, they will just send you a refund pretty much right away or send you a replacement. Guitar Center had to wait, or they wanted to wait until the FedEx investigation was finished, which can take up to 10 business days. And so I was like really tired of waiting. And, you know, I filed that claim, and I had originally bought a complete set of red Evans Hydraulics heads because, like I said, I was going to play this thing acoustically. And I just went and returned all of those. I bought them on Amazon, so I returned them all. I figured the kit wasn't coming, and I was like, screw it, I'll just get my money back, whatever. So anyway, I was doing stuff all day that day, and then I come home, and then the drum kit is here. So as soon as I filed the dispute and returned all the heads and all that stuff, it just suddenly appeared. And then FedEx didn't really update anything out at all after that. It just appeared. And then I figured out what had happened, because on the top of the box, I don't know if you if this happens to you, but when FedEx is delivering large packages, a lot of times they'll write the house number really large on the top of the box so they can read it. Well, whoever had done that wrote the number but one number off. So wherever, you know, it wasn't here, but it was probably like about a block or two away, and just sitting there for a few days. And the box was pretty destroyed. Or not destroyed, but it was definitely manhandled. You could tell that it had definitely been manhandled. And once I got the drum kit upstairs and assembled everything and got to looking at it, I noticed some of the edges were kind of chewed up a little bit from shipping, from being handled poorly, and just knocking around in the box. And also some of the lugs on the drums, you can see right here, were dented, like that one. Now I did go through and take these off and look on the inside of the ones that are dented, and it doesn't seem to be causing any kind of structural damage. It just seems to be 100% cosmetic. So anyway, that combined with the edges, and then also combined with a couple of other opinions that I have about the drums after I got to look at them and put them together, I I really didn't think that this drum set would be a very good set for an acoustic beater, really. The reason being is, yes, it's cheap, but it's almost too cheap, because I really feel like if I were playing this at shows and moving it around a lot, it would probably not last very long. Namely because they really cut corners in a couple of spots on these drums. Number one, the hoops are some of the thinnest and weakest hoops I've ever had on any drums. And this even includes some Chinese-made drums that I've received. These things are, you know, I'm sure these are made in China too, but I mean like Chinese brands. These hoops, even though they look cool, are extremely weak. They are not very good hoops at all. And that goes for the bass drum hoops as well. These things just can bend very, very easily, and they are just not very strong. The other thing that I noticed is the toms, the 10-inch and the 12-inch, both only have 5 lugs, which is really weird. Now, I can see 5 lugs, or, you know, getting away with 5 lugs on a 10-inch tom, but on a 12-inch tom, no way. If you want to tune drums, you know, acoustic drums, and get them nice and in tune, you're going to have even tension all the way around. And 5 lugs just isn't going to cut it, in my opinion. So that was another reason why, you know, I decided to just convert this thing to electric. Now, that being said, as an electronic conversion kit, this thing is actually quite great, because as you can see, well, I think it looks really cool. Some people might not like the all black, but I think it looks really neat. And, you know, everything, you know, the fact that there's no, you know, that there's only 5 lugs on the toms, that doesn't really matter so much for this situation, because, you know, I'm not going to be moving it around all the time, and it's basically just going to be sitting here in my room. So I think it should last just fine for that. That being said, not everything on these drums are horrible. Some of the things are actually quite good. So it's weird that they cut corners in certain places. Like the shells, I think, are pretty nice poplar shells. They're pretty much the standard for entry-level drum kits, but they're still pretty nice. I like the standard, you know, just L-rod drum mounting hardware. It's tried and true, it works good, and these are actually very solid. The bass drum spurs are very solid and nice, and those work really well. I like the front head. I ported that. It didn't come with the hole. I put the hole in there. The floor tom legs and brackets are all very good. I like the way that those are made. I just don't like the hoops. But like I said, here they're fine, but for acoustic drums, you know, and if you're planning to tour around and stuff and take them to shows, those hoops are going to get dented up and just not last very long at all. The bottom hoop on the floor tom already has a pretty sizable dent in it. I can't really get in there to show you, but it was like that when I took it out of the box. The drums themselves, for acoustic drums, if you just plan on setting them up at home and playing them there, they should be fine. But I would not buy this drum kit if you want to have like a touring or, you know, just beater drum kit to take around to shows and stuff like that. It probably won't last you very long if you do that. But if you want to convert it to electronic, then it's good. So let me go over all the stuff I have here and how I did this conversion for the nerds out there. So first off, I have the 5-piece PDP Encore kit in black onyx finish. Okay, so this pad right here is actually a Simmons S1000 snare drum pad, and that is actually a really nice pad, and I selected that one. I had it already. The reason why I went with that one is because it's all black, and so it matches pretty well. And that either gives me an extra tom or to use as an auxiliary pad for other things. I have it plugged into the aux port on the TD17 module. I'll show you that here in a minute. Now for the triggers on the toms, the 12-inch and the 16 and the kick drum all have groove dot, drum-tec groove dot triggers. And those things are just really great. They're kind of expensive, but they're really worth it. They just trigger really well. And then on the tom, the 10-inch tom here, I have a red shot that I just painted black because I didn't like it sticking out all red. I'll eventually get an internal trigger on there as well. But for the time being, that doesn't look too bad and it works well. Red shots always work well, I think. And you already saw the Simmons pad. For the snare drum, there is a drum-tec groove bar trigger, which is even more expensive, but that also works really well. And you can kind of see it through the head there, but I plan on putting a black resonant mesh head on the bottom here pretty soon. So that'll look a little bit darker. Right now it looks a little bit light. As you can see, the heads are all RTOM LV mesh heads, including the kick. And these heads are great. This is the second set of these I've had. The first set was a set that RTOM sent me for a drum kit that I made. Basically converted a children's set into an electronic set. But this pack I actually bought. I just, I wanted them, and because I remembered really liking them, and I put them on here. They are a bit louder than your standard mesh heads because they're a really thick single ply head, but they just feel really, really good, and they trigger really good as well. And on the kick drum, I have that head, and then I have like a couple of pillows and some black fabric stuffed in there as well to muffle it out a little bit. Over here on the left, I have the Roland TD17 module. And then for the cymbals, I have my Unlock Jaws 14-inch hi-hats, Unlock Jaws 17-inch crash, Lemon 18-inch ride being used as a crash, and then the Unlock Jaws 20-inch ride over here. This is a 3-zone ride. These are both dual zone. This could be 3-zone, but Roland doesn't do 3-zone crashes on their drums. And the pad there, that's actually a dual zone pad, but right now I only have the center zone is really the only thing I'm using on it. And the hi-hats are dual zone, and then the crash there is dual zone as well. For the bass drum pedal, I have the Iron Cobra 200, which is a great, really great pedal. It feels really good and not that expensive. And then it's sitting there on top of a Roland Noise Eater pad. And then I also have some anti-vibration pads underneath the snare drum stand. Oh, and I forgot to mention too that this thing came with a bunch of hardware. That's the snare drum stand that it came with. And this straight stand right here came with it as well. And it also came with a hi-hat stand and a bass drum pedal and a couple of really cheap brass cymbals that I just immediately threw in the garbage. But the stands, the hardware is actually really nice. I really like this PDP hardware. I've purchased some of their hardware in the past because it's really affordable and it's really good for what it is. And I don't have the hi-hat stand and the bass drum pedal here. They're in my storage unit. But I think I took a photo of those, so I'll show all the hardware up on the screen here if I can find that photo. But I plan on using that hi-hat stand and bass drum pedal for other things. Anyway, this is the kit. So I guess this kind of rolled up into one big video that's kind of part rant and part review and then part overview of the drums. But overall, I just really think it's great. I'm not going to do any playing right now because it's too late, but I am working on something for you guys, and hopefully I'll have that wrapped up tomorrow. I don't know when it'll post, but I will be posting content of me playing these drums here very soon. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for listening to my stories. Have a good day. Later.